welcome back to my channel. I'm Yoon, and in this video I will be doing my March wrap up. Sorry for the way I'm breathing and talking and sniffling. I think it's allergy season, so I am like suffering right now. But anyways, this month I read 4 books. Surprisingly, they were all digital. Actually no, 3 of them were digital. I borrowed from the library, and then 1 of them I did read physically. But if you watched my vlog 2 weeks ago, I want to say, I read that. I gave it away because it was a book exchange with a friend, so if you're interested, check it out. It is a long vlog because it is like a book I basically filmed throughout a month. So I have a lot of clips, some long ones than others, and yeah, so basically all of that. And so what are the 4 books that I read that I was taking so long to say? So first of all, I finished the Caraval trilogy. That was like the first week of March, so I already don't remember a lot. And then I read Once Upon a Broken Heart, and then I read Solo Leveling, the English book translation. My reading month in March is definitely a lot less well-going, if that makes sense, than April, mainly because April had a favorite reread and it might have a second favorite reread. So that's obviously already going to make my April reading month a lot better. But let's see, Legendary and Caraval. Legendary, I rated a 4 out of 5 of the 3 books out. I think that one was definitely my favorite. It had a really fun and interesting plot. I don't know what I thought of the characters, like the main character. I don't think the main character shift was that much of a big deal for me. Like, I didn't love Tella. Oh, it's 3.5, never mind. But I didn't love Tella or anything. Also, disclaimer, my review and like rating of the Caraval trilogy is like to be taken with, ouch, oh, that was my own hair, oh dang, to be taken with a grain of salt, because I admittedly did speed read through the series because my real goal was Once Upon a Broken Heart. So like, these are things like I didn't like skip details. I would skim maybe, but I did try to read everything of the book. I just didn't read it like as slowly as I normally would. So yeah, so just take it with a grain of salt. I just still want to share my thoughts with you guys. Maybe you guys feel the same for some parts, or maybe like I missed something. But I'm gonna just read what I wrote for Goodreads because I cannot remember a single thing right now. Okay, so the reason why I liked this one more was because the way the stakes were really high in this one made it really fun. Like, it really raised attention, and the plot itself was just more intriguing, was just more fun. Lots of things were going on, and I will say I was spoiled, or like I like came to that conclusion through spoilers that of like what Legend's real name was. But from the way the hints were given, I think I still would have like very strongly suspected it was that person. Anyways, it was I don't know, was it just me? Was it very obvious, or was it because I knew who it was that it seemed very obvious? I don't know. I think reading like the hint really confirmed my suspicions that it was him, but we'll see. And then I took 0.5 off here because I think it was throughout the story, but Scarlett's decision to just create this unnecessary competition between Julian and her fiance was just, I thought was just so weird, and just it just sounds so wrong to hear. Like, I didn't like that decision of hers, so I did take out a 0.5 on my rating. I really thought this book and finale would, you know, I'll say that after, but so another thing that confused me was the whole religion aspect. Like, all of a sudden I felt like we were kind of thrown into the religion that exists in this world, and like the fates have churches, legend has a church, and I was like, what is going on with all of this, like church and praying and stuff. And then I get that he's like introduced in this book, so it makes sense. So I was hoping for more in finale, but I still didn't get as much of a deep and like complex understanding of Jax's characters to like understand his popularity and like why people seemed so happy to have a spin-off series where he's like the main character this time. And yeah, so that was what I thought of Legendary. And then for finale, I will say it disappointed me because I didn't have a review. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I think the thing with that was because I felt like, because I knew Legendary was Jax's like first real appearance, I wasn't disappointed with the way his character was shown, but I felt that in finale I was disappointed because I was expecting us to like really get Jax's character, but I feel like we didn't, or whatever we did, for me it just didn't make sense as to why he was so popular, why he's like such a popular character, and why people like were so excited for the spinoff. Like, this is just me. So if you guys can understand, like, please do let me know. I kind of get like maybe because he's like a very specific like love interest type. He's kind of like the bad boy with like, he's obsessed with the girl, like do anything for her, so I kind of get it from that point of view. But yeah, and then reading Once Upon a Broken Heart, I still feel like that still follows. Like, there's just no way to really get his character, and that for me kind of detaches me from liking him, because I want to be able to understand the character the best that I can. But if the character themselves is like very unwilling to like show it, which is like in character for Jax, I guess, it does kind of make it harder for me to like that character. So that could be like that whole thing. But yeah, so finale, I was very disappointed with the way one part was dealt with. Like, first of all, it was kind of weird. This is gonna be a spoiler because I do have to talk about it, but it's the time when Scarlet goes back in time and then like tries to learn how her mom acts to trick the star's fate. I don't remember. I already don't remember the guy's name, but like, first of all, it seemed so weird how it seemed like she was so quickly able to get like as much of the understanding as she did. And then following that, it's like how that was even kind of like useless in the end, because she ended up using like his love for the mom, but also for her as like her father or something. And then the one question I had was like, if Paloma, I'm pretty sure that's her name, Paloma was the lost heir, did the queen know? Is that why she didn't do anything when the mom was like committing crimes and stuff like that? So I was just very confused on that aspect. And yeah, so it just felt it was just kind of weird, not really to my taste. I didn't really understand the point of what was going on in the finale. So there was that, basically. So yeah, that is how I finished the Caraval trilogy. And then the next book I read was So Lovely, 4.5. This was my highest rated book this month. I had a lot of fun reading it. Yeah, it was a really fun read. Reading the first book of this one though, I do still highly recommend the webtoon. In fact, I actually recommend both if possible. First of all, the webtoon is like super short and it does gloss over a lot of details because the webtoon's like 179 chapters for the main story, but the novel has like 8 or 9 volumes, so definitely missing a lot more. I have to see how many chapters it is book-wise compared to the webtoon, but yeah, because the novel I felt provides a much, well, they both provide different but important aspects to Sung Jinwoo's character. So like the novel, I feel like it's just Sung Jinwoo as a character, like his ideals, his innate abilities, like his little things that like make up who he is. But I think the webtoon shows a better development in his character and how like the system, like it shows a better development of him with the system and as like a constantly leveling up solo hunter. And it's because like, so when I first read the webtoon, I hadn't read the web novel, and I felt like there was always a weird shallowness or like a missing depth to Sung Jinwoo's character, and I feel like the novel really provides and fills in those spaces. But there was this one part that I think the webtoon actually did better than the web novel, and that was in the, what's his name, Kang Tae-sik? I think that's the name, like chapter slash arc, which he's like going dungeon hunting for the first time after leveling up. Like he looks different, blah blah blah. He's met up with some old like fellow something hunters after the whole double dungeon incident, and there's like at the end of the arc, he kind of like, I feel like the webtoon, I'm trying to gather my thoughts, I feel like the webtoon does a better job of like showing how the system and his power, as like his power that he's getting from it, is affecting him as a person, and like how it's kind of changing him because of the visual aid, but also just because they bring it up. So for example, with the Kang Tae-sik arc I was talking about, the novel kind of like skips over the consequences and like the effects it has on him, but in the webtoon it like really shows a milestone in his character as well as his power, like to see how much this is all affecting him. And yeah, so I feel like both novel and webtoon should be read because they both provide like really important details too that the other lacks sometimes. And of course, like the webtoon does provide a lot of really nice visual aid to like the fights, or like I said, the milestones and the way the system is affecting Sung Jinwoo's growth. And also Sung Jinwoo himself is also very good looking, so let me see if I can pull up my webtoon and show you guys. I gotta look for a good looking scene but where he isn't really spoiling what's going on. Which one? It's definitely, what is that? Oh, it's definitely here. Actually, yeah. Oh, lovely. Like, this is how he looks. Like, look at that. Look at that beauty. You know what I mean? You know what I mean. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so that was Solo Leveling. I had rated a 4.5. 4.5, very like 4.75, high 5. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was a really fun read, and I highly recommend it with the webtoon. And then the last and final book that I read is Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber once again. And this one was a 7.5 to a 7.75. And this one, I think the thing that I liked the most was like how well her writing style really meshed really well with the magical whimsical fairy tale-esque world of Magnificent North. Like I feel like that made it really vivid. It made it very, just like, it was a very strong fairy tale vibes. So I thought that was really well done. Like I said before and in the vlog, this book took me like around a month. Real life was a huge part of it, but at the same time, nothing of the story was really engaging enough for me to like actively make time to read this book, even amidst all the times I was busy. Like, I was really just reading when I had the free time. I wasn't making free time to read the book, if that makes sense. And Evangeline herself as a main character I wasn't a huge fan. Like, at times I did get that she's heartbroken. She's also being like led around by what's the phrasing, like led around by the neck or something. So she is kind of going blind in situations, but other times I felt like the decisions she made, which were independent of those circumstances, were still not the best decisions. So I was confused and annoyed at times by what she decided to do. There was one part near the end of the book where like it really shows Evangeline's motives behind everything in this book, that I liked the way it was conveyed and the way it was written. And yeah, so Evangeline, not my favorite main character. I have the sequel, so I might as well read it. And the last 50 to 60 pages were really what was the fun one, but again, everything else before that was very slow. Was like, it was fun, but I didn't really see what it was building up to, so it was like also kind of boring, which is also another reason for my lower rating. But the last 50 to 60 pages were really fun. I loved the way everything was just unraveling and being revealed. It's just everything was wild, and I was thoroughly enjoying the fast reveal and unraveling, and just the way everything was working out and the way everything was just being derailed. But yeah, the biggest thing that surprised me, I think, when I read this is at the end of the book, I did not find myself seeing Jax and Evangeline as a romantic pairing in what way whatsoever. Like, to me, they are not romantic. They are like platonic for me. Like, I like them as companions and as like friends that bicker a lot, but I just can't see them as a romantic pairing. And they did have like moments where they were like Evangeline was definitely attracted, or like Jax appeared to be attracted, but it was all, for me, it seemed very physical, and I could never really, because it was mainly because of Jax, I think, and also I mean, both of them have their issues, so for me it was very hard to see them like, for me it was hard to see them connect emotionally and like as a result romantically through that. And the thing I saw a little bit with this book that I saw a lot more with the Caraval trilogy that I didn't like was the insta-love aspect, because like in Legendary, for example, immediately we see Donatella like fall in love for some reason with Dante. We see like her immediately seem to fall in love with someone, and then we see this guy seems to be instantly attracted and like in love with her, and I just didn't get why. Like, there was no explanation, I think, for that either, like even later in the story. And I feel like in this case it was definitely a bit like not as insta, but it was without reason as to why Evangeline seemed to like Jax. And yeah, so like I said on my Goodreads, there just wasn't any development that made me see them as like a romantic pairing, and all the physical moments they had just seemed like that, like no strings attached moments. It was like due to something else, or because I just didn't see them romantically. It just seemed like an awkward moment, if that sounds fine. It just didn't seem like anything that would build up to being in like a romantic pairing. So I am really interested to see how it'll happen in A Ballad of Never After, because I feel like a big part of the story and like the cliffhanger that I kind of heard about in the sequel is the, if not romantic, at least a very strong like connection of some sort between the two that I'm just not seeing. So I'm really interested to see how I'm gonna feel about the sequel and all of that, because for me personally, I just didn't see it. Yeah, so that was it for what I read in March. It wasn't the best reading month. It was also so hard because one book took me like a month to read. Honestly, the only book I really had fun, hence the high rating, was Soul Leveling. But this April though has gone off to a good start. I think I've read 2 books only, and they were both rereads, but one of them I didn't have the best time rereading, but the other one I had an amazing time rereading, so I think that really helped make up for it. And yeah, I'm excited to see the other books that I'm going to be reading this month. And I think that's it. We'll see if I can. Let me know if you guys, like, how your guys' March went, how's your April going, and all of that. Yeah. And I think, anyways, but yeah, so thank you for watching. That was it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you like it, please like and subscribe. Yeah, I think that's it. And thankfully I have gotten a few ideas and like have filmed other ideas for the next week or 2, so that is set. I just need to the clips and edit them and then get them ready to be uploaded. But yeah, and yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.